All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin. All right, guys, so we did see a little bit of a small drop today. We got a drop. First of all, yesterday when I was making the video, we were up around the value area high of the range. And we have been talking about just trade the range. Look for shorts near the highs. Look for longs near the lows. Well, last night we had a little bit of a drop down to our point of control. You can see we tried to bounce at the point of control, but once we lost the point of control, we came down to our pitchfork midline. We saw a bounce from our bearish pitchfork midline up to about the point of control again. Couldn't reclaim the point of control, and then we dropped all the way this morning down to our value area low. We did see a bounce from this value area low. Got a secondary bounce from that value area low, and now we have reclaimed the pitchfork midline. Earlier today in the Discord, I was talking about this pitchfork midline could be a spot where we do reject on a bearish backtest. And you can see as we came up to it the first time, we did have a small rejection off of the pitchfork midline here, but still made a higher low and then continued up and broke above it. And now we are rejecting from our point of control. So not much new has happened on Bitcoin today. It's just continuing to range trade, just going from the highs of our local range down to the lows of our local range. And I am a bit bummed that we did not drop a little bit more to our weekly level. If I go onto the Coinbase chart, first of all, our Coinbase range is a little bit different. It does have the same point of control, you can see, but the value area low of the Coinbase range is underneath our weekly and around our naked daily point of control at 80.5. I also want to talk about this naked daily point of control. So let's zoom out to the hourly chart, and we can go ahead and turn on our naked daily point of controls. Let me switch this to daily. And if we look on the chart here, you can see that Coinbase does have that naked daily point of control down here. And let me, since I've changed the settings on this indicator, it shifted with the more information. So we're actually going to put that down there. It's at 80,000, closer to $80,400. And if we go on to Bybit here, you can see once this loads up, Bybit does not have a naked daily point of control at 80,400 like Coinbase does. Coinbase has right underneath the weekly, that naked daily. Bybit does not, but I do like to follow Coinbase levels more, so I am going to mark that out. It is also within our box of support down here, which we'll go ahead and extend just a bit. So we have that weekly. There's the value area low in this box of support, which is a little bit lower than Bybit's value area low of the same exact range. Let's talk about that for a second. So you can see the range pull. Really, since we've been going sideways, we can just look at this sideways range that we're seeing here on Bitcoin. Really from this area here, kind of sideways, we're starting to form this range here. So we can pull a volume profile of this range, and we can just look at trading within the range trading. So if I pull that same volume profile here, you can see the value area low on Coinbase is below the weekly. And if we go back to Bybit with the same volume profile pull, the value area low on Bybit is above the weekly, and that is where we bounced from earlier today. Now, I do still think we could continue to get a drop down to this weekly level down here. Really, what we saw today was a three-wave move down. You can see a three-wave zigzag correction to the downside. And what types of price action do we look for? We look whether it's going to be impulsive or corrective. Well, you can see very clearly here, you have a three-wave correction here to the downside, found support, and now we're moving to the upside here. Now, I still don't like the way that I don't like the lows yet. I think we could continue to come a little bit lower. I do also want to talk about this channel real quick while we're on here. Yesterday in the video, we were looking at this ascending channel. And in the video yesterday, I said we had some local support that was coming in right around that value, that point of control. So if I go ahead and just pull this volume profile just here, you can see we had the point of control of the range right where our anchored VWAP is, and it was at the bottom of the channel. So I was looking at this as a potential like micro support area if we were going to continue to trend within this ascending channel up to our higher levels. This was the area I was looking for it to hold. Well, you can see we did attempt to bounce there, just bounced up to the VWAP, and then we finally lost that channel overnight as I was sleeping. And once we lost the channel, we even came back up for a bearish backtest of that channel. And you can see here, once we came up for the bearish backtest and rejected, that's when we got a bigger push to the downside. And so what we can do now is we can just delete this channel. I'm not looking too much at it anymore. I mean, we might come up one more time to backtest it as a higher time frame backtest, bearish backtest of this channel. But I'm just going to go ahead and delete it off the charts for now. And we're just going to watch this sideways range that's developing here. So we can pull this volume profile. So yes, right now we are at our local resistance. We're at the point of control, which is also that anchored VWAP from 49K. And I do think there is a possibility we could roll over here and continue to come down just a bit more here. Let's zoom in on the 12-minute chart. And yeah, money flow still looks pretty good here. You can also see that we were, I guess we weren't seeing bull divs here, but we were seeing a trigger wave with money flow coming up here. We did not make a lower low down on this low here, but we did have some possible, if we were going to make another low, we would have had bullish divergences. That's why I was really waiting. I didn't take the long from here earlier today. I was waiting, being patient, waiting to come down to this area. I still do think we could come down to this area. And so I'm really waiting to come down to the weekly and to the Coinbase value area low to look for a long here. And we would still want to see those bullish divs developing on the charts. Let's go into our 5-minute chart. Yeah, so this one was a little bit hard here because there was no bull divs. You can see as we were coming down, making lower lows on the price action, our momentum waves were also making lower lows here. Money flow was also decreasing pretty harshly as we were coming down here. And if this secondary touch of that Bybit value area low would have came just a bit lower, then we would have confirmed some really nice bull divs. But because we did not have divs, I did not take any long there. I knew it was an area where we could bounce, but if you do not have your confirmation ender and you want to play it safe, you can't catch them all. So we did see a bounce from there. We are reclaiming that pitchfork midline from our bearish pitchfork for now. And we are seeing a rejection from the point of control. Now, depending on what happens here in this point of control rejection, I think overnight into tomorrow, we can drop down to the weekly or even lower. Unfortunately, now that we have kind of front ran this weekly level, we might continue to drop and we might bust through it. But I will still be looking for support in this general area of support below us, this general box between 80.7 and 80.4. We do have a pretty important day tomorrow. We have FOMC coming out tomorrow, and that should give us some volatility in the markets, so just prepare for that. Oftentimes, that FOMC does give us a little bit of, inducement or I would say false moves as well. Sometimes we get a fake out to the downside, then we can pump, or a fake out to the upside, then we can dump. So we do need to be aware of that tomorrow morning. But I would say nothing has changed on the charts for Bitcoin, really. We are still just ranging within this range here. We do have our supports below us that we can look for longs. And we have two supports we're really looking at, this weekly naked daily point of control and value area low between 80.7 and 80.4. And then if we break that to the downside, I really wouldn't be interested in anything else until we got down to the daily around 78.5 and that swing failure liquidity grab around 79K. Now, we do have these lows. These are kind of poor lows that we're seeing here on the charts. But I'm not too interested in those. The golden pocket also is coming in right around there. Let's go ahead and do our golden pocket pull from the lows to the highs of this range, and we can turn on that golden pocket. You can see our golden pocket is right into that swing failure pattern of these lows here at really 79,900-ish, 79,890. So, Actually, now that I think about it, I would be willing to take a long from here if we got the confirmed swing failure pattern into our golden pocket, because I talk about this a lot on my channel. An SFP liquidity grab into a golden pocket is actually a great trade setup to look at. And anytime we see a confirmed liquidity grab into a golden pocket and that golden pocket does hold its support, it is oftentimes a really good level to look for the reversal in price action. And so I would say let's go ahead and just mark this out right now. I'm going to also put this on the chart as well. Yes, I know that that's a lot of support below us, and you're going to say, well, look, you have so many supports. Of course, one of them is going to hit. But we just have to pay attention to the charts and what the charts are doing. If there's support there, we do need to mark it out and be aware of it. One of the reasons why I'm hesitant in this, or I like this liquidity grab into the daily a bit better, is because if we do break our value area low and come down into our golden pocket and take this liquidity grab into the golden pocket, if we start breaking the value area low, we might see a bit of continuation to the downside. So I would say this one's a riskier one here at 79,900 into our golden pocket. All right, so that's what we got below us for supports. And then, of course, if we break that, we can probably come for these 76.6 lows into our pitchfork band, our bigger bullish pitchfork band of support below us. Now, overall, I do still think this is a correction. This entire move up from 76.6 looks very corrective to me. And I think that, okay, I shouldn't say I think, I am giving a probability that we could still drop all the way down to our weekly, or even, all the way to the daily, and then see another move up. We have to remember, because we hit that 886 here, we have a greater probability of eventually coming to take out our Friday highs. So even if we come down to this level, I do expect a bounce on a higher low to at least come take out our highs before ultimately breaking down and breaking the 76.6 lows. Now, the primary level that I'm looking at above, just like yesterday, is between 88K and 88.6. That is the primary resistance that I'm looking at. We do have one other resistance before that, being our more local golden pocket. If we do that golden pocket pull up from these 92.8-ish highs down to our 76.6, you can see that golden pocket is still coming in between 86.6 and 87K. I'm just rounding here, but you can see the exact numbers. Between around 86.6 and 87K. And the reason why we also have some point of control confluence of the point of control of our last range. This last range here is in that area. It's closer to the 0.65, around 87K. So these are the areas of resistance above locally. Now, I want to say locally, these are resistances. That doesn't mean that Bitcoin has to reject from here and then break the 76.6 lows. We could see something like maybe we do this overnight, come down to the weekly. We could come all the way up to 88.6 and then come down, make a higher low, and then continue up to 93, and then come break our lows at 76.6. Now, that's pure speculation. We don't have enough information on the charts right now. As price action develops, that will give us more information on what to look for. We have to see how Bitcoin is going to react when it gets to all of these levels that we're looking at. When it gets to our support levels, we're going to want to see how it's acting as we get down there. If we are seeing bull dips on the charts, if we're seeing our money flow come up, and as we come up to our resistance areas, we want to see if we have bearish dips on the charts and bearish money flow, or money flow topping out. But I would like to highlight, overall, on the higher time frames, we are still seeing bearish signals. Look at our money flow on the daily chart, still coming out very aggressively. And yesterday, I did talk about our momentum waves look like they were trying to roll over and form a third hump that would be another higher low. Well, we are looking like that process is continuing here today. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do just come up locally, hit this golden pocket, and then dump, or we'll just have to see how it plays out. Let's not speculate too much on what could happen. Let's just follow the charts. We trade the range until the range breaks. So right now we know we're in that lower range, and we will just keep an eye out on this lower range and watch price action. This range here is what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and delete this here, and we'll just look at this range right here, this sideways range. Okay, so far, money flow on the 4 hour, you can see that it is trying to come back out again here. Yes, we did get a bottoming this morning when we hit into the value area low, and we are starting to see that momentum wave curve to the upside. But if we reject here, it's just going to start to roll over and see another like blowout here. As far as our 1 hour chart, money flow is coming to the upside here. It's looking like it might want to turn back over here. So we could see the rejection from the point of control where we are at now. I actually do expect us to come lower to hit these support levels before taking our Friday highs. That doesn't have to happen, but that's what I'm expecting based off of what we're seeing on the charts here. Overall, though, this whole entire move up from 76.6 still looks very corrective, and we are still in an overall downtrend we're in an overall downtrend with expectations that we will continue lower. All right, let's go back to our bearish pitchfork, and let's go ahead and take a look at this bearish pitchfork because we are still just hovering around the midline. We've been talking about this the last few videos. The midline was a resistance for us for a few days. We did see that rejection from the midline. On Friday, we were able to break it and flip it to support, and since then, it's been trying to act as a support here through the last couple days. Now, yes, we did break it to the downside last night, but we are reclaiming it pretty quickly. So I would still say this midline overall is holding as support until we really start to lose it and close some higher time frame candles below our support levels. I would say this midline is kind of an area where we can expect to see some chop around the midline. Also, the anchored VWAP is here. That's a very key anchored VWAP from 49K, so we can expect to see some chop around the anchored VWAP. If we start to lose our weekly level and our daily level, I mean, really the next level is that low at 76.6, and you can see that 76.6 or 76.5 on Bybit. That low is coming in to our bearish pitchfork band, the bottom band of our bearish pitchfork. You can see last time we did bounce from that bottom band as well. But if we do come down here, it's going to take some time. We'll probably see a small bounce here. Even if we reject there, we'll probably see a small bounce here. And then we would come down here. So it's gonna take some time to get down there unless FOMC is some big wild card that dumps us right away. But I do think that that's SFP of the 76.6 lows into the bottom of our band is an area that I'd be interested in watching as well. And then ultimately, if that doesn't hold, we're really looking down towards that like 72K, where the bigger golden pocket is. And that's also going to be around the bottom of this pitchfork by the time we get down there. All right. So other than that, not too much going on with Bitcoin. We're just still in the same range. We're still just chopping low volume price action. If we do zoom out, let's go zoom out on the daily chart here. And you can see how this pitchfork midline here, or this lower band of the pitchfork, has been a pretty strong resistance overall. We are seeing some wicks down below it, but overall we're not closing any daily candles below it yet. So if we start to close daily candles, and at this rate it would have to be below 76.6, then we can really expect some more stronger continuation to the downside. Probably down to 70K. I think 70K, 70.2K is a stronger level than 72K. And that's just based off of, if we take this Fibonacci pull from the 49K lows, from our wave 4 lows to our all-time high, you can see that our golden pocket is coming in from 72.2 down to like 70.2. But the reason why I like the 0.65 at 70.2 better is if we do our volume profile pull of that last range, you can see that the value area high is closer to our 70.2 area. Let's just do this. Yeah, so on Bybit, it's closer to 68.6. But if we go on to the Coinbase chart, and let's look at our Coinbase chart here, We'll do that same Fibonacci pull from the 49K lows up to our all-time highs. And you can see that golden pocket is very similar, 72K to 7150, so about $100 difference in price. But let's do that volume profile pull, and you'll see the difference here. You can see that the value area high is coming in about $1,000 higher here on Coinbase. So very close to our 0.65. It makes sense on a more macro level to continue this distribution down to this area, see a bounce from that area, start to reclaim some bigger levels, and make another move to the upside. Now, I do want to talk about this 5-wave impulse that happened. So let's go ahead and come on to our Binance chart where we have a clean chart. Let's zoom out to the weekly chart. And for a while, actually, if you go back and watch some of my first videos that I ever created on this channel, you can see that I've been talking about this weekly cycle channel for a long time, and we've been following this 5-wave impulse to the upside, Elliott impulse to the upside, knowing and expecting that that 5-wave impulse could top out towards the top of the channel and that we could form a distribution pattern up here that could take up to a couple months. So far, that is what is playing out, and we were looking for this before it even happened. So I do think that this 5-wave impulse does look pretty mature and pretty done. We are not seeing, I know a few really good Elliottians that I like to follow and like to look at their stuff. They still think that we could be in a correction here on an extended 5th wave. So they're thinking the 5th wave is not in yet here, and that we are just going to see a bigger extinction here on the 5th wave. Now, the way I'm looking at this, with our weekly bear divs here on the chart, with our monthly bear divs confirmed on the chart, I just don't see it as the highest probability. Of course, we'll keep it as a scenario in our mind for higher time frames, but I do think even if we do come down here and bounce from 70K, we really need to be watching the golden pocket 786 area to look for a lower high to come in where we continue this push down, maybe to the value area low of this range or the point of control of this range, which I know is around 63K. That could give us our really nice ABC correction after a 5-wave impulse. You look for a correction. We could see our ABC correction take a few months, maybe through the summer, and then we could see that continuation to the upside. Now, this is too early to speculate and tell on now, but so far, the general idea of topping out around the top of this cycle channel and seeing a distribution is playing out perfectly like we were expecting. We were expecting this wave 5 to end. By the way, this wave 5 target did end in the correct area as well. As far as if we do our Fibonacci pull from the wave 4 correction, we turn on our expansion levels. Let's actually turn on the 5th wave target expansion levels. And let me go in here, make sure this is on log scale. You can see that we have hit the technical targets. The 1.618 was even broken to the upside. And if we go ahead and okay, let's go ahead and look at our CVD here, and we'll check out what is happening locally on CVD. Now, yesterday in the video, I did talk about we were seeing some bullish divs on the CVD, bullish CVD absorption, but overall, I didn't like the way that our open interest looked while this absorption was happening on the charts, and that it gave me a decreased probability that these CVDs would play out the way a lot of people are thinking. So we know that our price action is making higher lows so far. Our CVD is making lower lows. But look at our open interest from this low. So we can really be precise with this. We can take our horizontal line, our vertical line, excuse me. We'll throw it right on that spot where the 76.6 lows were. And if we look at where our open interest is from there, so now we can come in here and we can look at our open interest. This is just a way to be more accurate to see. So right on top of that vertical line, you go on to your open interest, you just clock it on there. You can see, yes, overall, we were below it for a while. We were raising up to it, but now we are dropping throughout the last couple days. Our open interest overall is kind of dropping to the downside, and now our open interest is flat with that area. That area where our open interest was at the time of our lows, we are pretty much right at that area right now. And so in some ways, this higher time frame bullish CVD absorption is on the verge of invalidating. And I talked about this yesterday based off of this drop here that we were seeing over the weekend. Anytime you see a consistent move to the upside, but then you see prolonged drop to the downside and open interest, yes, overall, we might still be coming up, but the last few times I have seen this, it has really invalidated the divs. We had another move to the upside, and now we're seeing it again. And really, to me, this is giving me some concerning signals that this bullish absorption might not be valid. I'm still going to be watching it and still be paying attention to it, but right now, I do not like it as much as I was earlier. I guess I would say a few days ago. Okay, very locally, let's go ahead and come on the charts locally here and see what we're seeing. Okay, so we are seeing higher highs on the price action here, and we are seeing lower highs on the CVD here, but our open interest is decreasing here. So we are not seeing bullish absorption, but we are seeing some bullish CVD divs. It's more of exhaustion that we're seeing in the market here. Not as strong as the signal to trade, not near as accurate as CVD absorption. And we do have to remember we're rejecting from the point of control of the range. If we go back to our chart here and let's get back in on lower time frames, we are rejecting from that point of control. If we can start to reclaim this point of control, then I think that Bitcoin actually will come take out our Friday highs before dropping any lower. If we can reclaim this, maybe see a small rejection, then come up to this area and then come down. But until we reclaim this point of control in confluence with our anchored VWAP, I'm still going to be watching for lower targets first. Let's go ahead and look at our golden pocket pull, our local golden pocket pull from the highs of yesterday down to the lows of today. Let's turn on that golden pocket. Yeah, and the golden pocket is just above us. So I do think we do need to be aware of a fake out, a fake break of this point of control. Maybe we break just above it a bit into our golden pocket and then lose it again, because we do have internal liquidity here as well from that little bounce we saw earlier today. Or I guess I would say it was really last night for me. All right. That's about it on Bitcoin. We'll check our liquidation levels here. But I just want to talk about, before we do that real quick, this was a very corrective move. You can see very clearly a three-wave move to the downside. We did move down to our value area low on Bybit, and that's why we are seeing the bounce here. We could even look at this bounce like on the 15-minute chart like we're looking right now. I mean, a 1, 2, maybe all of this is a 3. We're going to retrace for a 4 and come up one more higher for a mini 5-wave impulse on the 15-minute chart after seeing the 3-wave correction. The thing that I do not like about that is our wave 2. If we do a Fibonacci pull from the highs of wave 1 to the, from the lows of wave 1 to the highs of wave 1, and we turn on that 886. You can see that 886 level is where we bounced from, but the 886, I should zoom in here so you guys can actually see. The 886 is a very uncommon target for a second wave to retrace to. If this is going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 886 is a very uncommon target. It doesn't invalidate a wave 2, but it's very uncommon. Your most common targets are really between like the 0.5 to the 786. So, and then also, well, yeah, let's just leave it there. So we'll see what happens here. This could be a way forward. We could make one more high into that golden pocket to take this liquidity and then see the rollover. Money flow still does look pretty good on the 15-minute chart here. You can see from our lows earlier today, money flow has bottomed out and we've been consistently rising in money flow on this push to the upside. Let's actually go ahead and come into our volume and let's look at our volume here on this push to the upside. Ooh, yeah, okay, so we did see a pretty big spike in green here. That was actually on the back test of our pitchfork midline right in this area, and actually it looks like it's much bigger on Coinbase than on Bybit. But if we look at our volume overall, look at our volume drops to the downside are still much bigger overall than our push to the upside. This push to the upside is happening with relatively low volume on the charts here, telling us that it's more of a corrective push to the upside. Now, that doesn't mean in a corrective push to the upside, you can't see a micro impulse inside of it. You absolutely can, but overall, on the larger perspective of things, this still looks very corrective. And the whole push up from 76.6 actually looks very corrective to me. If we zoom out onto the 4-hour chart, you can see really this entire push up, volume has been decreasing on this entire push here. And our spikes, look at most of our spikes in volume are in red here. Red spikes, red spike. Yes, we did have that one green spike at the top of this zigzag correction. Red spike. Yes, a little green spike earlier. But overall, a majority of our volume is in red. Our spikes in volume, I should say. Okay, liquidity now. Let's look at our liquidity. Let's go ahead and refresh this. Model 3 heat map. Let's go onto our 2-week chart and look at the last 2 weeks of price action. We still do have those liquidity clusters, those same liquidity clusters that are acting as magnets above us. That is why overall, I think we could bounce from our weekly level and come up to these areas. I do think overall before this bigger correction ends and we make new lows below 76.6, I do think we are at least going to come up to take that liquidity that's above us, that's so close to us and so strong. So like if we go back into this heat map, you can see that the first liquidity cluster ends around 86K. And then the next one ends right around 88K, 88.1. And where are our key resistances? Well, here's 86K. I mean, 86 into 86,500 into our golden pocket. And then our next one ends at 88K, which is in this purple box of resistance here. That's where our bigger golden pocket is. The golden pocket pull from the highs of the A wave down to the lows of the C wave. If we take that golden pocket, it is right in there, as well as other volume levels of resistance, naked daily points of control, the pitchfork band, a bunch of other stuff in there. So, yes, overall, still looking pretty corrective. Can we come drop a little bit lower and then make a higher low to come up one more time? I think that's the biggest probability. But what we do right now, we trade the range until it breaks. You look for shorts near the highs of the range. You look for longs near the lows of the range. And you look at your levels. Do not try to trade in the middle of nowhere. Wait, be patient, sit on your hands, and wait for the market to come to you. Wait for it to come to your levels. Once it gets to your levels, if you have proper confirmation to enter that trade and enter it with good risk management. Now, I'm going to be going more into risk management here in my next few upcoming videos here. I'm going to do some extra content on risk management because really, to me, risk management is the most important thing in trading. And if you could know all the technical analysis, you could know volume, you could have all the secret levels, all the good technical analysis. But if you don't understand risk management, long term, you will end up ruining your account and wrecking your account and getting liquidated if you do not have proper risk management. So we're going to go over some risk management in the future here. I do think that is a very key pillar to trading, probably the key pillar to trading. as well as discipline to be able to stick to your risk management. Okay, right now, that's about it for Bitcoin, guys. I am not watching too much else here. Let's see. Yeah, nothing much has changed. We are still just trading in the range, and we bounced from the value area low on Bybit. Coinbase, we didn't quite get to the value area low, which is around our weekly. We rejected last night from the value area high. So we're just trading within this smaller range since Sunday, March 9th. We continue to trade the range. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I will try to make another video later going over some of the altcoins, but for now, I'm just going to go over Bitcoin. Oh, and I wanted to go over total market cap real quick. So let's go over this, and then we'll call it quits after total market cap here. Total market cap. Last time we talked about this total market cap, we were worried about this pitchfork not holding and that we were going to break it to the downside. And we did break it to the downside. You can see it was trying to flip to support. We could not hold it overall on the daily time frame, and we broke down and we made new lows. Now, where do we come to on the charts? Let's go ahead and grab a horizontal line, and let's just click it on these lows here. Look at where we bounced. The value area high of our previous range. So this would be very equal to Bitcoin coming down to the 70K area. Our total market cap has now, on its weekly time frame, on every time frame, but if we zoom out to the weekly time frame and we look at this weekly impulse, similar to Bitcoin's 5-wave weekly impulse, let me get rid of that for just a second. You can see very clearly here a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, wave 4, and then our wave 5 here, a 5-wave Elliott impulse to the upside. We topped out up here. By the way, I was warning people in my November videos that we were topping out and that we could see a bigger correction to the downside. Now we are breaking this pitchfork that has been a very, very key pitchfork that has guided us this entire bull market. Since from the start of wave 3, we've been able to trade inside this pitchfork. If we go in, let's go in onto the 2-day chart, and you'll be able to see how well this pitchfork has been respected on macro levels. You know, all through here, rejected from the top, upper band, midline, held the bottom of it all through here. You know, it's just been highly respected here, and we are starting to lose it to the downside. So the entire trend that has guided us through this entire bull market is being lost to the downside. Well, where did it come down to? It came down to our prior range of what used to be resistance. Now we're coming down to it and we're flipping it to support. But let me actually zoom in onto the daily and mark this range out properly. Here to here. Let's see. Where did I do that? Just to there. There we go. Yeah, so coming down to our prior value area high, bouncing from the value area high. Can we see a bigger bounce from this value area high? Will it hold what used to be our resistance for this entire 7-month range? Will it now act as support? Now that we've broken it to the upside, oftentimes in a healthy market, you come back down to that level to back test it, to flip it to support, to continue higher. So far, we are seeing a bounce from our previous range value area high, our previous high time frame range value area high. You can see we bounced perfectly from it. But overall, we still have our golden pocket below us that is in perfect confluence with the most powerful level. The point of control in a range is the most powerful volume level. It's where the most volume has been traded. So I would not be surprised if we do make one more low, especially if Bitcoin drops to 70K. Altcoins, you know, will continue to drop as well. I do think we can make one more low on the total chart down to our point of control of our previous range in confluence with our golden pocket, and then see the bigger move to the upside. Now, on the move to the upside that we are seeing now, Yes, it does look very corrective, and yes, it is looking like it wants to roll over, but that doesn't mean it has to yet. What we could see is a move all the way back up to the pitchfork to bearishly backtest the pitchfork after losing it. Because this was such a strong trend through all of our bull market, and you can see here we're really starting to lose it and close multiple daily candles or even weekly candles below it, we could watch for the bearish backtest of it now to confirm rejection to lower areas. And so that bearish backtest is still quite a ways up there. It's closer to 2.95 trillion. Right now we're at 2.67 trillion. Money flow still looks really bad on the daily. You can see how aggressive money flow is coming out here. And our daily bull divs here, once again, just like on Bitcoin, are about to kind of roll over and invalidate those bull divs, at least invalidate them temporarily. Maybe we'll see a third drive of bull div if we do something like this. Roll down on the price action, then we would be seeing those 3 lower lows on the charts, 3 higher lows on the momentum waves, give us a triple drive of bull div into our very, very key level of support and see the real bounce. Okay, guys, that's it. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, please like the video. Please subscribe to the video, to the channel. I appreciate all of your guys' support on everything you do. Thank you for being here with me, and I'll see you tomorrow.